The date that I came in to first see, or to first be seen, was July 11th, 2017. I made the decision to enter the program due to the health complications that were associated with my obesity and just with my weight generally. When I started on July 11th, my weight was 430 pounds. As of July 2017, I would say my mobility was limited. I would incur shortness of breath, even from climbing a few stairs, walking. I wasn't sleeping well, and my energy level was very, very low. As a 400-pounder, I would say the number one thing was that my happiness level just generally, and the happiness level of my wife and my 5 kids was low, and certainly suffering from my health condition. In early August, after I'd been in the program for about a month, I sought some treatment, actually for poison ivy, and during the trip to the clinic over the weekend, the nurse could not get a blood pressure reading, and she tried for several times and wasn't able to even get an accurate reading on my pulse. After this nurse, who was an ER trained nurse, finally was able to get it, she determined the heart rate was in the low 140s, and she sat there and checked it several times, and I got to thinking, I wonder if it was high all along. So I went back and looked at the blood pressure machines that I used to take my blood pressure, and sure enough, it had been stuck. My heart rate had been stuck at about between 140 and 150, going all the way back at least 6 months. So I called Dr. G on a Saturday afternoon and told him about it, and this was after the nurse said they didn't want to treat me and sent me to the ER. And so I called him, and he asked me about it, what was going on, and I told him, that I'd exercised that morning, and so he was less concerned about it, but still wanted me to go to the ER, and I told him I didn't want to go to the ER, and that maybe I could see him on Monday. I came in to see him on Monday morning, and he drove over an hour just to see me that day. And I saw him late in the morning, and he had a pretty good idea that I was in AFib. And he said, let's go to the ED. And I told him, nah, I'm not going to go to the ED. Let's find another solution. And so he said, follow me. And I followed him to Topeka from Kansas City, and went in through the ER. And he had a room waiting for me. They immediately did an EKG on me, which of course came back very abnormal. And the next morning, I had a cardioversion, and that resolved the problem. But if I hadn't been in the program, and if I wouldn't have had access, then I wouldn't have gotten that fixed. And it was a big problem that could have certainly resulted in death. When I first saw or entered into the program in July, before I came to the first visit, I had decided in my own mind that I was going to do it. I was going to be successful, and that I was going to do whatever I needed to do to achieve that success. And so the first visit, I asked Dr. G to tell me, I said, I'm here to hire you to fix me. And he kind of smiled at me, and I said, no, I'm serious. I want you to tell me exactly what we're going to do. And I'm going to do exactly what you say, to a T. It's not a matter of cheating a little bit here or there or whatever. I haven't done anything inconsistent with the plan since I first saw him on July 11th. And he said, wow, you think you can really do that? And I said, yeah, I can really do that. And so I did. At the beginning, he sat down, he spent over an hour with me and my wife, and went through what the program was going to be and how it was going to work. And very, very specific. You do this when you get up, you can't have this, you do this, you can't have that. And I asked him to relate that into a longer period of time, because what I wanted to do from the very, very beginning was to go about this in a way that would result in lifelong success with respect to my weight management. At the beginning, so he gave me the program and what I'd call the recipe for success, and I followed it to a T. The first week or so, it wasn't, frankly, as hard as I thought it would be, because I was very, very committed to what we were doing, and the daily communications, usually by text, were also very helpful as questions came up, and to kind of learn and really to implement the program that he'd given for me. So I don't think, frankly, looking back, that it was necessarily as hard as people make it sound. I read every literature that there was about the program that he put me on, and I didn't experience the difficulties or the negative part of that. It wasn't really that hard looking back. With respect to the accountability and what I would describe as a teamwork aspect of what I went through, I was asked to, when I woke every morning, get on a scale, weigh and text it to Dr. G and to one other person. And so I built that into my routine starting day one, and I would usually do that, I don't know, 5:30, 6:30 in the morning. I would almost always get a text back sometimes within 5-10 seconds, other times a couple of minutes. And that feedback, and just really what I described as the teamwork, really kept me on task, because I knew that if I didn't do exactly what I was told to do, that the results wouldn't be there, and I wouldn't be able to report success. But I would say that the contact helped me more in terms of creating a support system that, not so much accountability, but the support system and kind of teamwork aspect of the process, I really found to work very, very well. Having the access is definitely an important part of the program, and not just the text, but also the telephone calls. I'm a busy guy, and so most of my telephone calls were at night or on the weekend, and I would say probably 95% of those calls were answered by about the third ring, and if they were not answered, I would immediately get a text back and a call back, usually within a few minutes, and I found that to be very, very helpful. I started noticing results immediately. I think on day 1, I lost 4 pounds. On day 4, I believe it was, on day 3 or 4, I think it was day 4, I lost 9 pounds. And I remember I texted, well, before I even texted, I weighed like 7 times and checked the batteries in the scale, and I remember I texted and I'm not sure they believed me at first, and they said, "Really? Are you sure?" I said, "Yeah." And so I would say early on, day 3 or 4, I started noticing the results in terms of feeling better and just kind of seeing the results in a tangible form. By into week 2, into week 3, the weight loss was over already then, about 20 pounds, and I thought, wow, this really works, and this is going to be great. By day 55, I'd lost 69 pounds, and that was certainly a good day, and the reason that was notable was because I think that was my second or third appointment, and so that was kind of a benchmark that we used to measure the results. But so the results were immediate and really continued as I stuck with the program. My life now is very different in almost each and every respect than it was before. I talked about the happiness levels at home from wife and kids, and that's a huge change. Everybody's happier. We do a lot more in terms of activities, in terms of playing basketball or going to the gym or just being more active together. I'd say that my energy level is 100 times more than what it was, and so I'm doing more. I'm exercising 4 or 5 or 6 times a week. That's a lot of fun. I'm a former athlete, so I really enjoy being able to do that again. And I do that also with my wife every Saturday and Sunday morning, and that's been a great way to not only spend time with her, but also to exercise at the same time. So it's efficient in terms of again, managing a very hectic schedule and being able to multitask. I would say also, as that transforms and relates to the workplace, my energy level is way up, concentration's up, I'm more efficient, I'm faster, I can withstand the 12, 15-hour days a lot easier. I can travel better, I can travel more comfortably. I travel 4, 5, 6 times a month, and it's just a lot easier. I find people are nicer to you even, and more accommodating, especially you're getting on airplanes and traveling around. And I would just say life now is just way, way better. If I were to say something to myself in hindsight, having now gone through the program, I would say that I would have said to myself that your lack of health in your life is limiting your success, both as a father, a person, and also a business person. And now that I've taken a lot more time to get the health management under control, I really would also tell myself that I would need to change my priorities and raise my own personal health up into the top of those priorities. And by doing that, I would also say to myself that if you do that and are able to manage your time and fit that in, then the level of success that you will achieve with your friends, your family, and with the people you do business with is going to go way, way up. I would recommend this program and process to anyone that I'd say probably in a couple of categories. If someone is way overweight into the, I was in the 400s, you need to get it off quick, just to improve your health as quickly as you can. And I think that the program is a good way to manage that. But it's also a good way to manage as I said, the goals over time, like the rest of your life. I would recommend New Health to really to anyone, whether they want to lose 20 pounds or 50 pounds, or like in my case, I'm going to end up about 200 pounds. I would say that particularly if you're a busy person and you need structure and a system and a plan, that you'll achieve great success with the program if you're willing to make the commitment to really do the simple things that are asked of you. And so I would recommend it to anyone. And I would say, don't wait. There's no reason to wait. Get started, because My grandfather used to say to me, "You're not going to learn any younger." When he asked me to do something new or different or challenging. I would say it's just like that. You're not going to get better unless you start.